With the Cleveland Browns getting ready to start rookie minicamp next week, I figured it's better late than never to give my official grades for their 2025 NFL draft class. Let's jump into it. With the 5th pick, the Cleveland Browns selected Mason Graham, defensive tackle out of Michigan. Now, I don't think Mason Graham was a first-round prospect that a lot of Browns fans had on their radar. That's because of Travis Hunter. The Browns got a package that they could not refuse for the number 2 overall pick from the Jacksonville Jaguars. They got an extra second-round pick, which they used on Quinshon Judkins. More on him later. But they also got the Jaguars' first-round pick in 2026. There's no guarantee that the Jags are going to be any good next year. It's Liam Cohen's first season as the head coach with the Jags. We'll have to see how that unfolds throughout the regular season. I like the trade on the surface. You get Mason Graham, a run-stopping defensive tackle out of Michigan. And it's not the glamorous pick. It's not the pick that will sell jerseys or put butts in seats. But Myles Garrett could use some help on that defensive line. We heard following the draft that this was a pick that Myles Garrett signed off on. I don't know that Mason Graham will get a bunch of gaudy sack numbers during his rookie campaign with the Cleveland Browns, but I think when you look at this AFC North, Derrick Henry could move around. Lamar Jackson could move around. The Bengals always find a way to have a run game by committee. I like adding Mason Graham because last season the Browns were not good against the run, and we'll leave that there. I give the Mason Graham selection a B. I think it's a firm B. It can't be an A because you traded out of the flashy pick that is Travis Hunter, the prospect in this class that some people believe is a surefire Hall of Famer. I'm not sure about all of that. I think Mason Graham could put together a really nice career, especially because his first rookie contract will coincide perfectly with that massive extension that Myles Garrett just signed. That shores up the defensive line for the Browns moving forward. I think it's a nice pick. It gets a B. With the 33rd overall pick, the first pick of the second round, the Browns drafted Carson Schwesinger, linebacker out of UCLA. This was a pick that was a surprise, for me at least, because I didn't think the Browns would address linebacker this early. It's a crowded room. Obviously, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah's availability is the biggest question mark, and this selection only makes you question his availability more. But the Browns did a good job in free agency bringing back a lot of vets. Devin Bush, who just got in a little bit of legal trouble, was brought back. Jordan Hicks was brought back and played well last year. We'll have to see how the linebacking room shakes out, but this is a guy that the Browns believe can be an every down linebacker for years to come. It seems like a Jim Schwartz pick. Let's ride with it. I'll give this one a B as well. Here comes my first A-plus pick for the Cleveland Browns in the 2025 NFL draft class, and that's running back Quinshon Judkins from The Ohio State University. The Browns draft him number 36 overall in the second round with that bonus pick that they got from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think this is an absolute home run. I know there were a lot of people that were wondering, why don't you draft Travion Henderson? He was kind of the A-back in the split backfield that Ohio State had all season. But just looking at Quinshon Judkins, and I had the opportunity to speak with him briefly at the Pro Scouting Combine in Indianapolis, he looks like an AFC North running back. He's a big boy. His quad muscles are the size of my head, and I have a big head. I think Quinshon Judkins is going to be a great running back for the Cleveland Browns as they move forward. Obviously, they drafted Dillon Sampson later, gives him a little bit of help in that backfield. We'll have more on him later, but Quinshon Judkins gets an A for me because the Ohio State Buckeyes don't win the national championship without Quinshon Judkins, and the Browns are trying to get back to Stefanski ball. They're trying to get back to running the football with 2 tight ends. I think Quinshon Judkins fits that mold like a glove. Moving on with the 67th overall pick, the Cleveland Browns select Bowling Green State University tight end Harold Fannin Jr. I'm excited about this one. Harold Fannin Jr. was a mock draft darling. Speaking of Indianapolis, he was all smiles when talking about the Cleveland Browns, his hometown team. He's a native of Canton, Ohio. This selection should make the Browns receiving game much more interesting next season. I think Harold Fannin Jr. as a rookie could contribute as a pass catcher first and foremost. Now, there are questions about Harold Fannin's ability to block. He's a smaller guy. However, Andrew Berry refuted that. Every single time that he was asked about Harold Fannin's blocking ability, he said when you watch the tape, it doesn't really stand out as an issue. He's a fine pass blocker. We'll have to see how that develops throughout rookie minicamp, throughout training camp. Harold Fannin is just 20 years old. Njoku was a young guy when the Browns drafted him as well. He was mostly known as a pass catcher. Harold Fannin is mostly known as a pass catcher. David Njoku has developed into one of the best overall tight ends in the National Football League. Great guy for Harold Fannin to learn from. I'm going to give this one a B. I'm a big fan, and it gets back to the Browns' overall offensive identity, which is running the ball and getting those tight ends involved. Our first real head scratcher came in round 3 when they selected Dillon Gabriel, 94 overall. Now, there's a viral video going around of Dillon Gabriel doing a bird call, and the bird told him that he would be the 94th overall pick to the Cleveland Browns. That kind of leads me to believe that this viral video that everybody loves so much, it wasn't some wild premonition that Dillon Gabriel had. I think Dillon Gabriel understood that he had a third-round guarantee. I think the Browns guaranteed him that he was going to be a top 100 pick. Now, coming into the draft, nobody, and I mean nobody, had a third-round grade on Dillon Gabriel nationally, in the media. The Browns obviously love him. I think Kevin Stefanski sees Dillon Gabriel as a guy that could effectively run the offense the way that he wants it run. He's a smaller dude at 5'11". He's left-handed. And the Browns then drafted Shedeur Sanders later. This was a confusing pick to me. The Browns like it. I won't give it an F. I know some people who have given it an F. Because if Dillon Gabriel turns out to be the face of the franchise and it's not Shedeur Sanders, it's not a quarterback next year, you're going to look pretty silly for giving this pick an F in the third round. I just can't get over the fact that I think that it was a reach. I'm going to give it a D because I don't think he will become anything more than a journeyman backup in the National Football League. I hope this pick pans out, but this was the first real head scratcher that I had for the Cleveland Browns in the NFL draft. That brings us to round 4, where the Browns went back into the well and drafted another running back, taking Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee off the board with the 126th overall selection. I love the pick. Here's another A from me. It's not going to be easy for the Browns to replace Nick Chubb. And Nick Chubb's a free agent. Maybe he still finds his way back here. I don't know about that. But the one thing that I do know is that if he does come back, he'll be 30 years old by the time that this season ends. I also know that this was widely viewed as one of the deepest running back classes in recent NFL draft history. The fact that it only cost a 4th round pick to draft the SEC's leading rusher in Dylan Sampson is pretty darn impressive. I think a backfield of Judkins, Sampson, and Jerome Ford will set the Browns up very nicely regardless of who is under center. I really like this pick for the Browns because I think, again, it's cementing their identity and what they want to do as an offense. Let's get into the last pick that the Cleveland Browns made, trading their 6th round pick to move up into the 5th round, 144 overall. It's none other than Shedeur Sanders, the most talked about prospect coming into the NFL draft and the most talked about 5th round quarterback in the history of the National Football League. Shedeur Sanders will have national media at Browns rookie camp when it starts this weekend. Shedeur Sanders is a player that has a lot of swag, aura that surrounds him. It's the reason why Browns veterans reached out to him as a 5th round pick. I'd be curious to know who reached out to Dillon Gabriel in the 3rd round? I doubt it would be less people than reached out to Shedeur in the 5th round. But here's the thing. Shedeur has the hype. Shedeur is a 5th round pick. Both of those are true. Now he has to prove it on the field. Now he has to compete with Dillon Gabriel, with Joe Flacco, with Kenny Pickett, just to get on the field this season. I have a premonition that the Browns will try to get Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel meaningful regular season snaps because they want to find out if their 2 first-round picks next year could be their franchise quarterback or if they already have one on their own roster. I'm going to give the Shedeur Sanders pick an A. And the reason why I give it an A is because there was a time not too long ago, just a short couple of weeks ago, where people, myself included, thought Shedeur Sanders could have been the number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft. And maybe a lot of that hype was media driven. Maybe it was the fact that Deion Sanders was so outspoken about his son becoming the face of a franchise in short order. Maybe Shedeur slid to the 5th round because of some off the field stuff, bad participation in interviews, the cockiness. How does he fit into a quarterback room? But from a pure talent lens, looking at Shedeur Sanders, he's at worst a 2nd round pick. He fits the Kevin Stefanski offense, in my opinion, a little bit better than Dillon Gabriel because he is the most accurate quarterback in the history of college football. I think Kevin Stefanski using Joe Flacco as the starting quarterback and then handing the keys to Shedeur Sanders would be the most sensible path for the Browns to take in 2025 because if you're looking at pure upside, I think Shedeur has a higher ceiling than Dillon Gabriel, and I think you need to see more out of Shedeur Sanders if you're the Cleveland Browns in 2025 than Dillon Gabriel because you need to decide, will Shedeur prohibit us from drafting a quarterback in 2026? Overall, I think Andrew Berry aced this draft. It's a little bit weird to have 2 running backs and 2 QBs in the same class, but if either one of Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders proves to be even a stopgap for the Browns, it's a step above what they have right now, which is a big question mark. If Dylan Sampson and Judkins become this generation's Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, this draft class is a win. Oh yeah, by the way, you got the best defensive tackle in Mason Graham. He's going to be stopping the run for years to come and a future first-round pick. I think this draft was a massive win for Andrew Berry. Now it's time for these guys to prove it on the field. I'm going to try to make more videos like this. If you liked it, if you hated it, if you want to see what I've got up my sleeve next, make sure to subscribe to me on YouTube right here. We're going to try these out, and if you guys like them, I'll keep them coming. Thanks so much for watching.